All right, joining us today, former Pirate great Aundrae Allison to talk about the red hot East Carolina Pirates coming off a win over Memphis. Aundrae, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing great, man. I am doing great. I was singing the East Carolina victory song before I got on here with you.
I mean, it's funny you say that. We were singing it on the post game show the other night. It
Uh,
had a old school Pirate feel Saturday around the stadium, in the stadium, and then on the post game show. A lot of Pirate fans calling in for the first time in a while to say that we're back, kind of deal. Andre, and as a former player, I know you had to have some good feelings on Saturday.
yes, I love how everything has just came together. We're a complete team now, and all those early hardships or whatever those little small challenges we faced, it's really paying off right now. And when you look at like those out of conference losses, pretty much set us and prepared us for these in conference competitions. So that's how I'm looking at it. It's like those early tests is really paying off. It's a great investment early on in the season, even though it sucked when we was losing. But right now we're getting the benefits.
Good point. On that note, if you schedule cupcakes in the non-conference and you are 9-1 right now, you're probably looking at if you win your conference championship, a playoff spot. Instead, we're looking at a pretty good bowl game.
Yeah, that's true. That's tricky though.
I
That
know
is
it
really
is.
tricky that you say that. Holy, yeah. I don't know how. I don't know. I'd rather play tough teams early on because we still could have beat them.
I know,
You
and
know, it
we
wasn't
were in the
like that
games.
big of a mismatch. So
Absolutely. Jared, did you have something on that?
Yeah, just with the playoff rankings, like 10-3 East Carolina, if they win the conference championship, I feel like the way the committee works, they would look more favorable upon the games we've won and who we played non-con than a 12-1 James Madison.
You think they would get in over James Madison?
I don't think it's like a foregone conclusion that East Carolina's out of it just because they've lost 3 games. I'm just saying the committee's tricky.
yeah, that's
Okay.
a good point though. That's a good point.
Great point.
Yeah,
It,
I love that.
it is interesting on how you look at this thing moving forward because again it's like if we know how it's going to go it'd be easy to set it up, but we might not be in this playoff discussion every year or whatever, so I'm still fine with scheduling BYU and NC State in the non-conference because heck, sometimes those are even better and bigger than the bowl games, those early season matchups. So if I had my way, I would still schedule tough non-conference opponents, even though it might hurt you when it comes to being in the playoff rankings.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you also got okay. I'm a businessman now, so I had to look at it. Also, it's like a way to get that notoriety, more attention to your program,
Yep.
more visibility. Because when you see teams like BYU come into town, and then all the college game days and things like that, it's still a great investment for our university in itself because eventually we will be able to like I say, lure those talented players in. And when players are not getting treated fairly or well at other programs, they will look at ECU because we've had so much visibility this year. So it's definitely going to pay off. Either way, we're going to win in the end.
Yeah. On that note, Andre, on the fifth quarter the other night, we had people calling in asking about, all right, what's it going to take to keep Caton Hauser and Jamarly Riddle and those guys here? And I'm like, all right, first of all, let's have that discussion after the season because I'm not ready for it right now. I'm in a good mood. But secondly, wins like this and seasons like this, like you said, attract players to us. So, yeah, we're going to lose some, but guess what? We're going to get some great players too, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And hopefully, we got the finances to keep our
Yeah.
players. And I think eventually another thing that will eventually happen as well, because this winning, it just like, helps those type of people open up their checkbooks a little easier. But yeah, hopefully we definitely can keep those players. But then, like you said, so many players that will be moving around as we've already seen that in the portal. It's a lot of players moving and shifting. So we're still going to be able to get fair amount of people to replace whoever chooses to leave.
Andre, something happened the other night in the stadium, and there was a movement, and grown men and college males started taking their shirts off and waving them around like Petey Pablo back in the day. Um, and Blake Harrell and the players said, they felt that energy in the stadium. So you always hear there's a fine line between like ignore the outside noise, focus on what you got to focus on. But there's also accepting your crowd's energy too, right, and feeding off of it. So what's that like as a player when you can kind of feel that happening around you?
It's electric. I mean, it's definitely a shift in like performance, shift in like your vibration. You feel like invincible in a sense,
Yeah.
and that's why the opposite of that, an empty stadium with no one celebrating, it can also make you flat, right? So it's like, and that's the beauty of sports. Like it's like those highs and lows, and the energy. It's no way to escape it, but you do start to feel like, oh yeah, we can compete with them, or we're better than them, or I'm invincible. I don't even see that defender there. That's how it really feels. You're just like moving through people as if they're not even there.
And man, there's X's and O's. There's you versus the other man, but sometimes it comes down to just making a play. And our top two guys are the Smith boys, Yannick and Anthony. And Yannick went down, so somebody had to step up. Brock Spalding had the one-handed catch near the goal line that was almost a touchdown. Incredible play. And then Peyton Mangrum, who is returning punts because our normal punt returner's out, so he's already got more on his shoulders. And then as a wide receiver, hasn't done a ton this year, makes the catch of the year on the throw from Caden Hauser late. And just love those stories, Andre, a guy stepping up when their name is called and making that play.
Yeah, waiting in the wing, and then it says a lot too about the leadership as far as the coaches and everybody like that, because you got to have those players. You still have to have the engagement, and that takes like a really strong will, the ability to relate to the players, also be an authority figure. So it just shows like the strength of our coaching staff. And yeah, I love seeing stuff like that happen because I know how anxious it is for players to want to get their chance. And then once they do, they deliver. So they're like, okay, coach, I told you I could do this. Or all alone, the players know, the teammates know because you see it every day in practice.
Right.
But it's nothing more magical than that alone. And football is the number one sport when it comes down to next man up. You know that any given play somebody can get injured, but the plug and play is very consistent. And that right there is it's a beautiful thing to see.
Well, the thing with Peyton Mangrum is I didn't realize this till after the game. 6th-year senior, was at South Carolina 5 years, couldn't get on the field, came here expecting to be a big part of the offense, but just waited for his moment, worked his tail off, and for it to pay off like that was really special.
Awesome stuff. Made
Wow,
the play. Shout out to the defense, too. Really key sequence in the game. Caden Hauser, we got the ball late fourth quarter. He fumbles, and all could have been lost to that moment. But the defense, they give up one first down, and then they get a quick, 3 plays, and then kick a field goal. And ECU has, at that point, 1 timeout and the 2-minute timeout. So that kind of takes a little pressure off of you, Andre. You need to go down and kick a field goal to tie or go for the touchdown for the win. And if they get another first down or if they get a touchdown there, like A, you're further behind. B, you're inside of 2 minutes. You're using more timeouts. You might have like 45 seconds or something left. So I think the defense getting that stop late really took a lot of heat and pressure off of JDB and Caden Hauser in that offense.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And I felt good about like that sequence of events. You can kind of feel how the defense was in control, or I did not 1 second think that it was gonna be favorable to Memphis. I was just looking at like, okay, let's see if all those minor infractions we had early on, shooting ourselves in the foot. Let's see if we can put all of that behind us and show how we learn and show how we've grown as a team. And that's exactly what happened. The composure just was just like sitting right there in your face, and I love just seeing how our team has, like I said, already came together and got their identity. They established their sense of self in each role, and seeing him throw for 300 plus yards, I'm just like, wow, yeah, this team is clicking, and we're clicking at the right time. So I'm looking forward to how this thing ends up.
And heck, let's face it, these days you don't need the 2-minute drill has turned into the 30-second drill. Like I swear I have a memory. I don't think this, like I would watch football in the '90s, and there'd be like a minute 10 left to go. Team would get the kickoff and take a couple knees and go to halftime. And now with Mahomes and Allen and in college football, if you got 30 seconds or whatever, you're going for a score. And so you don't need that much time. The game's changed a lot in that regard, Andre. Do you remember that even when you played that teams? It seems like offenses are more aggressive now, late in halves, late in games.
Yes, for sure. And I'm so happy to see it because I'm an offensive person. I like points. I like excitement like that. But the rules of football change too.
Yeah,
That it allows it to happen, right? Because think about this: if you're not able to contact like me off the line of scrimmage within a certain amount of yards, so you're not going to impede our offense. You're not going to slow us down. So it's almost like a little bit more favorable to the offense. But the rule change, the obvious, analysis of like fans want excitement. Yeah, but when I was playing, you would just stay conservative. You wouldn't try to
yeah,
be too aggressive. But now it looks like how we used to play video games. But
yep.
how
No,
you would just go for it, or you
you know
wouldn't even
why?
think about
These
the
coaches
consequence.
grew up playing those video games, Andre. I've said that. That's why McVay and Shannon, like all these young guys, they're not that young anymore, but they grew up like us playing Madden.
Yes, exactly. And the funny part about it is I'll never forget being in the league. We used to always say that we'll be like, okay, if it's a 4th and 2 or 4th and 3, because people was not going for it on 4th down. That
No.
was only like ten years ago.
Yep.
And the players, all of us over there, like, why would we not go for it? But you got to think, like, our generation was totally different from the coaching generation. They had the Jerry Rices and Seifert as coaching, stuff like that, and
Yeah.
Schottenheimer.
Thought of
So we were
old Joe
always,
Gibbs with
yeah,
Washington.
and we were
Yeah.
like, Coach, it's 2 yards. You're mean to tell me we can't do something creative or just toss it to Adrian Peterson or hit Sid on the slant or like nothing? Like, so
Yeah.
yeah, I love seeing what football is right now.
And when you said that the game has changed, it reminded me. I had this thought yesterday. So at the end of NBA games, team scores, call a timeout, and you get to take the ball all the way on the other side of the court and inbound it. The NFL has kind of gone that route where if a team scores, now if you don't get it to that kickoff zone, you get it at like the 40. A touchback's like at the 30 or 35 now instead of the 20. So they're basically designing it as, hey, we're going to make this next possession interesting, where if there's 30 seconds left, a team needs to get about 25, 30 yards and they can kick a field goal. I feel like they've almost NBA'd it at the end of games.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then, okay, think about this. Do you think sports betting has a lot to do with that? Yeah,
Yeah, how's yeah,
yeah, for sure. I agree with that. But I think those type of the NFL, they're not spending any time on anything that's gonna make the game worse or bad.
right, yeah,
They put a lot of research and development into that. And I think they do a great job of listening too, because like I said, it's the players and the fans, they want excitement. And the only thing that I would change, I still want to see a rule change like this clip. I want to see the ability for the offense to shift up and down, like in motion before the play starts, like defense. Because okay, think about it. If the safeties can do like this and the corners can do like this, but I just got to stand there. You, I'm like,
So
how
you want
come
it
I
like
can't start?
Canadian Football League where you can run straight before the
Yeah,
play?
and it doesn't have to be like that extreme, but can we like increase that distance that like the guy is off the ball a little bit like further than that 2 or 3 yards? Like,
Okay.
can we have 7 yards and then like be running up, as the safety is coming down? I just think that would allow like more like chess match because sometimes you can be in the game and the defense has your number and there's nothing you can do. It's like they've seen you do this play so many times on film and you're like, okay, how else could I be creative? And I always say that. Why can't we just get a little bit of more running room as receivers, or like have multiple shifts like defense? It'll make it even more exciting. They should really look into that.
Man, I have thought about if like Tyreek Hill's allowed to do that run and start like in the CFL, what that would look like. that would be dangerous.
Oh, absolutely. But
That
it's a
would
lot
be
of players in the league that's not even fast. They're shifty. But again, it puts the defense more like on their heels because I
Yeah.
always feel like that. You got a really good defense in there clicking. It's almost nothing you can do against them, and you're just sitting there
Well,
stuck. I feel like this: the Eagles and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. You could see that was a prime example of it.
all right. If you're gonna do that, then we gotta lax up some of the quarterback hit rules and stuff like that. We got. I'll make a trade with you. Like, we'll give you that, but we can't have every little. If a finger hits a quarterback's helmet, that can't be 15 yards.
I'm I would agree to disagree because if I'm looking at the game or if I'm looking at the game that's coming up and how they are like trying to generate that excitement for us to watch it. If I
Yeah.
see that Mahomes or Herbert isn't playing because last week
Yeah.
the defensive end went in there and was just reckless, like no, I don't. I'm not gonna watch the game. And
All
I'm
right.
sure a lot of the fans will probably feel the same way. But I remember that vividly when Brady got his ACL torn when the guy fell on his leg. I didn't even want to watch the NFL no more because I love watching Brady. But I think a lot of that has to do with it. You have to protect those guys because it just takes away from the fan wanting to be engaged in the weeks to come. So I don't know. I agree to disagree.
All right. All right, Mr. Offense. I'm gonna see if I can get him to turn on something. It's 3rd and 18. Quarterback goes back. Pretty good coverage. He's rolling. He's rolling. He's got nothing. Throws it away. But there's a flag down because across the field, about 7 yards down the field, there was an illegal contact or a hold. All right, give him 5 yards. Replay the down. Why is it an automatic first down? I don't like
I agree
that.
with that. I agree with that.
All right, good, Mr. Offense.
That's
It's time.
absurd. That's
Yes,
almost cheating. It's cheating because you can
yes,
almost make like you can call that regardless. Like and always have a reason why you did. I
yeah.
don't like that at all. Like
Yeah.
that's too much.
What were
I
your
agree with you.
conversations like, Andre, with officials? Did you have them like, hey man, he's holding me, or just watch out for it, or what was that like?
Yeah, I mean, it would be like that, and then if it's like one of those moments to where like you're on the road or something, or sometimes you might play at home and you feel like the refs are against you. And I remember like I'll be saying that to refs like running back. And I'll be like, are y'all here with them or us? Like what
Uh,
I don't understand this. Like, so it's some of those moments too. And then, I've got favorable calls to where I think the ref. And I remember almost getting fined by our coach at the time, Brad Childress, because I got it was like in the playoffs, I got a pass interference call and I said something about it after the game, and Brad was so pissed. He's like, don't address it because everybody kind of knew it was like a phantom call a little bit, because
yeah,
we was at home. But yeah, it's the conversation just fluctuates, and then you hear the veterans talking. The vets who got established like
yeah,
credentials on the field, their conversations with the refs are just like, wow, like he just said that to him.
yeah.
But it's nothing you can do because they're Pro Bowlers, All Pro, and they have a lot of like good things on their resume.
Man, this conversation's going everywhere, and I love it. Love talking football with Andre. So we've got some punching incidents lately. Deron Payne, my guy for the Commanders, threw one at Amon-Ra last week, and then it turns out that Payne was punched first a couple plays prior to that. Then yesterday we got the Ramsey and Chase deal where Ramsey looks like a fool, but then it comes out that he was spit on. Perhaps I still haven't seen the video. I've heard, but I don't know. But man, Andre, it's like at the time when you're watching, you're like, man, why are you just don't punch it? First of all, don't punch a guy with a helmet on. That seems dumb. But like, keep your cool, stay in the game, whatever. And then stuff comes out, and you realize that like heat of the moment, hey, it's gonna happen. So what's that fine line like, Andre, on the field? I'm not going to lose it. I'm not going to hurt my teammates or myself. And then B, I'm a man, and I'm not putting up this crap anymore. I'm about to punch this dude. Well, what's that like for you?
That's a hard like thing to juggle, honestly, because it makes you almost like inhumane because you can't fully express who you are, and some belligerent stuff is going on, by this opposing team or teammate. But yeah, you got to keep your composure. A lot of that has to do with who is on your team and who the coaches are. Because I've seen situations where like certain coaches they don't tolerate it and they like are willing to accept the consequences if a player goes after that person for them, doing some shady stuff or some sneaky stuff. Because if you keep letting it go, sometimes it can work against you. Like they
Yeah.
they think you're like a pushover, but then you're like, okay, screw this. Like we're gonna retaliate like this. Everybody's on board. Look, all right, we're gonna take that. But then like that will ramp up, and that can create like a momentum shift for you as well. So I could see, when you talk about Ramsey, he's always had a history of doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
He came in the league as a rookie doing that to Steve Smith on the Panthers. So
Yeah.
yeah, he's a chippy dude, and it's just important for you to like not get lost in like certain players' strategies of trying to like manipulate you mentally so you can get off your game. But sometimes it's worth the penalty or it's worth the consequences and pushback that you're gonna get.
And I bet y'all talk about it the week of too, right? Like, hey, watch this guy. He's gonna try to bait you. He's gonna do some dirty stuff. Don't get caught up in it. Is that conversations y'all have?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then, okay, on top of that, you would go into that game. So while you're warming up, you might go and address that with the player, especially if it's like a corner. Like, say for example, receivers hate being hit low. So if we seeing this on film, we're like, okay, this is how this player. So before the game, we're like, hey, bro, like, don't hit me low. Like if you hit me low, I'm gonna chop you. Or I had a great asset in my corner. I had Adrian Peterson. So if I'm
Yeah.
blocking the corner and he tried to do something, a little sneaky jab or something. I'm like, okay, listen, we call it toss. I'm gonna let 2-8 go, and you're gonna have to get him. So you better stop. So that those are real conversations that you will have that people
Yeah.
don't see. But yeah, I've seen that. And then lastly, I've seen the thing that stood out the most when I was in the league clip was like veterans would have like this sense of like true brotherhood and connection, and it would just be like a unwritten rule, like to not say go low on like a all pro receiver or something like that. Like and like you respect the game even more because they understand like their position, the value that they bring to the organization and the league. So it could go either way, but you
Yeah.
definitely would want to address it if you could see them before the game.
All right. We gotta go. I could do this for hours. But
I
all
know.
right, let's circle back to ECU. Andre, they're playing a weird opponent this week. A team that never loses at home. They got a crazy long 20-plus game conference home winning streak, and they are dreadful on the road. And we got them at their place, UTSA. The home away splits are just crazy. So it's a weird environment. They're playing in the Alamo Dome where Tim Duncan and David Robinson and Parker and Ginobili used to play back in the day. It's now their football stadium. But it's a road game. Pirates are red hot. What's the talk this week, Andre? After 2 weeks ago, clinch a bowl spot, you celebrate. Last week, you win your biggest home game, conference game in a while. Celebrate. Blake Harrell's got to get these guys back, focused. So, what's that talk like here at the beginning of the week?
I would say the talk will be definitely. I would say point out, you know, mostly the things that we need to improve on because you come off a win like with Memphis and you're riding high and you're not paying attention to like the small things that you can like fine tune and continue to perfect. So I think I would like my coaches and my teammates to be like, hey, we did good, okay, but look, you can clean this up too. That just keeps you grounded. It keeps you balanced. So when you're going into games like this, you're not like have the big head or something like that. And I definitely wouldn't want to pay attention to any of those statistics you said about UTSA
Yeah.
because that can like it could get in your subconscious and you might start having a sense of doubt. So I would ignore that, and I'm sure the players are well aware of what you just said. But yeah, just try to find those little things that you can still get better at because your games are not always as good as you think or bad as you think. It's
Right.
like that happy medium which you have to focus on.
Greg Hudson said he would try to have some tough practices after big wins, and he said he would make up stuff. He said he would tell Coach Rock Rogeman that the D line was loafing, and instead of Rock saying, "What are you talking about, Greg?" or talking to the guys, he would just immediately believe him and just start dog cussing the D line. And so he said he would do little tricks if he needed some extra juice or if the guys were riding a little too high. So
No, coaches are great at that. Like that's that. And then think about this: if you have coaches like that and also players who would do the same thing, your team
right,
is a dangerous team. So that's all I'm saying. Is like you got to have those. You're gonna have your coaches on your ass, but then your teammates, you don't want those people who are just telling you everything was good.
right,
You want somebody to be like, hey man, look, you can this game, I want to see this better, and that's where the performance continues to peak, and you play at a high level.
Aundrae, awesome chat today, man. Appreciate you. I love doing this. Great hat, by the way. You're matching my hat game, so.
Oh yeah, and look, I'm actually filming. This is a part of my documentary that I'm shooting. I'll tell you more about it later.
Okay.
But yeah, I got my setup in here. I wish you could see my setup, but yeah, you're part of this documentary that I'm shooting right now. So.
All right, what's up? Aundrae, we'll talk to you next week, man. Appreciate you.
All right, Clip. Take care.